So I want to talk about ozone therapy because it is one of our heavy lifters. It's my personal favorite therapy. Um, and most of you have maybe done ozone IVs with me, right? And if not, you should really consider doing it. So it's not just like a hole, up there that's going to kill us in the ozone layer, but ozone is a medical therapy. It's not that popular in the United States, right? But it's oxygen. It's three oxygen molecules, right? Where the oxygen that we breathe is too, so it's more active. Now, what we do is the intravenous, like IV ozone therapy, right? And we're going to take some of your blood and give it back to you. The way we do it is in an IV bag with saline. And then we bring it back to you through the UV light. Now, you can go to 10 different doctors, and I guarantee you there's going to be 10 different ways that they do ozone. Trust me, because people always come to me and go, oh, wow, the other guy didn't do it like this. So it's really the art of medicine and it's the practice of medicine. And I went out and got a bunch of mentors and made my own protocol. So everybody
Mhm.
does it different. Other ways that we do it that you might not be aware of is we do rectal insufflation. So that just means like an ozone enema. So people that have liver stuff, have colon stuff, that's really good. It's also people can get these machines and do these ozone enemas at home because it's not a high skill thing. So a lot of people that maybe have cancer will get a little home ozone machine and do these ozone enemas. And in Cuba, they were doing a lot of ozone therapy because it was effective and it was inexpensive, right? And they found that they did a lot of ozone enemas because they didn't even need a nurse and it was easier. And they're however they were doing it, right? Because everyone does everything differently. They found that two ozone enemas was the strength of one ozone IV. Crazy. So if people are on a budget, people want to stay well. A lot of people don't want to do an enema, and I totally get that, right? But I mean, this is an option, especially people have colon stuff, they have liver stuff. All the ozone teachers say it goes straight to the liver when you do the ozone enema. So just something to think about. You know what else I found it's great for? You ever have surgery and then like you can't go to the bathroom because of all the pain meds and stuff they gave you? It's great for people after surgery to help them like wake their bowels back up. So that is a great use for that. Vaginal insufflation. See, I don't even know why I put this word here. That's like a vaginal enema of ozone. So this would be great for people that have some kind of infection or inflammation in the vagina, right? The ear, this is great for the kids. The kids started getting hand, foot, and mouth disease. Did you guys, anybody got a grandkid that got that? Like get that at daycare and then they go, oh, I don't know, just take them home, right? Well, we found out that if we did ozone their ears, like they just got better like the next day, which was crazy, right? So it's so you could find someone that does that around where you live, or you could get a home ozone machine and have that there. And it's also great for us adults if we get a cold, a flu, sometimes the ears, allergies, and then that goes down to the throat. So the ears ozone is fabulous. And we also at the clinic will help people with their sinuses. Like if you got a sinus infection, man, ozone up the nose just kind of takes out a sinus infection like immediately. So it's just so efficient at what it does. Like we've treated people with walking pneumonia with ozone IVs, and it doesn't have a lot of these negative side effects. Now, once in a while, when people start, maybe the first IV, and this isn't that many people, but it does happen, they might get like a die off detox and feel a little bit tired. So we always give everyone charcoal with our ozone IVs, but most of the time people feel more energy, they feel less pain, they feel more present mentally, right? Because like think about it, everything's oxygenated, everything's disinflamed, of course everything's working better. And over here, look at this, it's got a safety profile better than aspirin. And then just FYI, if anyone's still on the aspirin, all my colleagues were like poo-pooing it at the last holistic cardiovascular seminar, that they just feel like taking the low dose aspirin is very dangerous. And I do like all of you guys, and you're probably on it on a double dose of krill oil, and that will give you like that nice flow of the blood, right? Over here, it just has some other conditions that ozone is great. Cardiovascular disease, which is why we're all here. We don't want to go there. Peripheral artery disease, so a lot of people write me with that. Yeah, this is great for that too. Chronic pain, macular degeneration. That was actually one of my first clients when I was a new doctor, was an elderly lady. She was some kind of music teacher, and her issue was macular degeneration, and she couldn't read her music sheets anymore. And I was impressed because I think after like, I'm not sure the order this went in, but like maybe after her first or second IV, she could read her weight on the scale, which she couldn't do before. And then after her third or fourth IV, she could read her alarm clock across the room, which she hadn't been able to do before. So anyone that's working on eyesight, like ozone works really well. And I've had people do ozone for other reasons and then say, hey, does that ozone improve your eyesight? Because I couldn't read the words on my coffee cup before, and now I can read them. So these are nice. You can see how the ozone is anti-aging, right? Chronic viral infections, anybody like Lyme, Epstein-Barr, totally needs to get on the ozone. Oncology, so cancer care, wound healing, it's amazing for wounds. We've done a lot of wound care. I've seen it just make people's, this girl had little warts all over her legs, right? So warts are a virus for those of you that don't know, right? And this girl, she wasn't clinical, so she would shave her legs and then spread the warts farther and farther up her legs, right? And she was going mental, obviously. So all we did was do one ozone IV, and then we sprayed her legs with water because ozone works better with moisture. Put literally garbage bags on her legs. We put a tube in the garbage bag, tightened it up, and we pumped her leg with ozone for like 20-25 minutes. And then when we took the bag off and we switched to the other leg, I'm not even kidding you, like these little warts were literally disappearing in front of our eyes. And then she was calling me and texting me all the rest of the day that they just kept disappearing. And I'm not even kidding you that she never did a follow-up treatment like that. And that was kind of mind blowing, but you see this like antiviral effect and healing effect of the ozone, right? And obviously anti-aging and longevity, which is what we all want. We want to age well. We want to have our energy. We want to be able to enjoy, and all of that is really important. And decreased oxygen utilization is a lot of these diseases of aging. So what is it doing, right? Like that's what people, and it does like all these things. So it's like, it's not like, oh, it does this, right? But it's going to boost oxygen delivery and utilization. And our body and our organs love oxygen, right? So imagine if we're inflamed, if we have high blood pressure and squished vessels and all these organs, that's why sometimes people end up having low-grade kidney damage, kidney failure, with high blood pressure. It's because it's just not getting all that nice perfusion of oxygenated blood, right? It activates the antioxidant defense, right? So something you might hear me talk about is oxidative damage. And it's like a buzzword. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, I mean, one place that we get a lot of oxidative damage, Jeff said about eating out at restaurants, right, is the seed oil, right? Seed oil, pretty much every restaurant, almost say 98% of restaurants are cooking with seed oil. And that does a lot of oxidative damage to our bodies and a lot of other things too. And that's just rusting basically on the inside. So the antioxidant is therefore good, right? Because it's going to help us like not rust on the inside. Hormone and metabolic regulation. So obviously all this is important. We start with the insulin and the glucose, but then, then we need to look at the thyroid, right? Insulin sensitivity and all of that. So it's going to help with all these hormone pathways, microcirculation, getting that oxygenated blood to all those small areas, supporting mitochondrial function. And a lot of times we see that like people will, just have more energy and less brain fog after doing the ozone. And I love that. And then antimicrobial, right? So even whenever I do a joint injection, I don't do them very often anymore. I always use ozone. Ozone can be a standalone joint injection as well. But then not only are you getting that healing power of ozone, but then you're also like ensuring the area is not going to get infected, right? Never had a joint injection infection, and always used ozone. So T3, we do check these on your lab panels too, because it affects everything, right? That's your most active thyroid hormone, right? So this is like the most important one. I always check free T3, right? Like how much active thyroid hormone do you have, right? So when it's low, which happens most often, you're going to have fewer mitochondria, which means less cellular energy. And that's going to be associated with more obesity and diabetes, which we obviously don't want because that's going to, damage our vessels, make us at risk for a major event, right? So the T3 is really important. Then NAD is really having its like day in the sun, right? NAD is really cool because it can like heal our DNA, right? And it naturally declines with age. And so there's a synergistic effect that ozone optimizes the mitochondria and that fuels the NAD dependent energy pathway. So that might be why anyone that's done the ozone IV, maybe you felt great after doing it. It's going to help your immune system. It's going to help you not get sick. I like to do it before and after travel, sustained energy, mental clarity. Who wants that, right? And the anti-aging effect, there it is, DNA repair, right? I mean, that's just kind of where it's at. Gene expression, optimization, and cellular longevity. So I do like NAD. I don't use it all the time, and I only use a specific one that has cofactors in it. So NAD alone can be a bit intense, is what I've found over the years playing around with different kinds of NAD. Just kind of like you had 10 Red Bulls or something like that. So why do we care about oxygen utilization? Improved organ function, like we said. I know some people on your labs, maybe it looked like the kidney or the liver was a little bit stressed, right? Enhanced senses. That's where we get that sharper vision, right? Hearing. I'm sure some people would like that. Cell repair and reproduction. And a lot of us are trying to unwind. We literally do want to anti-age, like maybe some damage that we did. Digestive health, balanced hormones, and immune modulation, which is just immune balancing, right? Because we don't want a hyperactive immune system. Then we're autoimmune, and that's like the opposite of what we want to do. Okay. So that, like I said, this is a brand new PowerPoint that I made this morning. So I'm like, okay, what are we looking at here? So brain, heart, and blood vessels work as one system. So yep. So when one suffers, they all suffer, right? And that's kind of why we do all these levels. Like we detox, we do the lifestyle, we do the gut. We hope that you come to the nervous system reset on Wednesdays and meet with your coach and do little exercises and stuff like that, right? Because it is a system of systems, and the way conventional medicine here in America has been set up is that we just really focus on squishing down the cholesterol or squishing down the blood pressure, right? But if we go out bigger picture, then we can really get rid of the cause, right? And even if we do squish those numbers down, and sometimes we need to if the blood pressure is high, right? And it can be dangerous, all that stuff that's causing the high blood pressure is still going on, right? And this is our approach. So phase 1 is ozone therapy, and I'll generally always do both of these, almost always, unless I think you need more mitochondrial support or more liver support, then we might switch it up. There are other IV therapies, that I love. But generally we'll do the ozone with the UV light. Since COVID, if you guys are not neurotic, go get your live blood looked at so you can see what's going on with it. But everyone's blood has been thicker since COVID. It doesn't matter if you got the vaccine or not. There's shedding and people are just more inflamed, right? So now we do ozone and UV light on everybody. And it's doing the same things we already talked about. And then we follow that with plaque X. And plaque X sounds sexy, less plaque, yes, please, right? But what I found, it's the combo. And then I need you doing the stuff at home, right? I can't intermittent fast for you or balance your insulin for you, but you can do it. If you give me a solid 7 out of 10, you can do it, right? You just got to show up even when it's hard and you don't want to do new habits and everything like that until it just becomes part of your lifestyle, right? But the plaquettes combined with the ozone seems to be synergistic, right? Because typically I have people do 5 sets of these IVs. That's how we built the protocol and people get results. I have lots of colleagues that will have you do 30 or 40 plaque X IVs. Takes forever and they don't get the results that we get. So it's that synergy of those together, but you've got to do this inflammation work. You've got to do this glucose and insulin work, right? That's how you're going to get the results that last. And always, always, always I don't have to tell you guys, I have everyone do that anti-orbital ionic calcium therapy because getting that calcium not gunked up and into the right places is also key. Oh, look at that. There's your calcium score. Okay, so some of our clients, come in, well, a lot of people call us every day with like really crazy high calcium scores. And so what we have seen is in some cases they go lower or they at least plateau on people that seem to just have compounding interest on calcium, right? And it's not just the AIC therapy, but that is key, right? It's this combination of that with the ozone, with the plaque X, right? And recently in the last few months, we've added in the importance of far infrared sauna and boron because I didn't know that we were getting hammered by aluminum from the sky until I saw my colleagues' data on that. So for those of you that missed it or you need a reminder, they do the chemtrails, right? Like the fake clouds in the sky. We don't like it. Well, my colleague said he always travels with his far infrared sauna, and I thought he was a nutcase. But then he went on to say, well, I don't know when there's going to be a high chemtrail day. And I was thinking, well, it's almost every day. And then he showed the data. So he was checking his urine and I believe his sweat for his aluminum. And on a basic day, he'd be a 2, but on a high chemtrail day, that would go up to like 2,000. And we don't need to freak out about that, but the aluminum can misplace the calcium. So this is a factor that we weren't thinking about right until I got that information. And the boron and the far infrared sauna can help scoop out that aluminum because he is an engineer before he was a doctor. And so he did a lot of tests on that and just it would bring him back to baseline, boron, far infrared saunas. So it's pretty easy to sit in a sauna for 10, 15 minutes. And it's pretty easy to take boron, squirt that in your water bottle every other day. And besides the calcium, we just don't want to be accumulating aluminum in us, right? That's going to do all sorts of stuff, anxiety, depression, and we don't want to be stacking that up. So that's a pretty easy thing that I would recommend that you get into your daily routine. Yeah, it's these are all the things we already said: faster recovery, clearer thinking, improved sexual function. I've actually heard this quite a few times from male patients that right after doing their first ozone IV, they noticed they had better sexual function, right? So something with that microcirculation and the more oxygenation and stuff like that, right? Healed infections, wounds, all of that stuff. Just make sure I'm on the, can't see where am I at. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, and this is what I was just telling you guys. We do the ozone with the UV light, then the plaque X, and that gives us a synergistic effect. And this combination makes the magic happen, but you have to do your stuff at home, right? And honestly, the biggest thing that I find with my clients is turning it off, like taking your foot off the gas. Because I work with a lot of people that are doers. They do a lot of cool stuff. They've built a lot of cool stuff, but that kind of keeps us running at a low grade cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine hits, right? And then that is backdoor like damaging us. So just leaning into like, what do I do to relax? Like and just even like try a meditation class around the corner, sometimes there's like groups that do free qigong at the park, my dad has an app that he likes. I think it's Tai Chi. It's called Mad Muscles, and I think I told him to start doing it every day because he was having, some stress related changes in his labs, right? So this is probably the most important thing, and it's okay if you're not doing anything to relax. Just start thinking about it. Like, don't judge yourself or anything. But what can I add in so that I can relax more in my life? And then this is book a consultation. Well, you guys are already here. You don't need a consultation. Like I said, I had the AI help me make this from my notes today. And obviously our heart and circulatory system deserve the best care possible. We know that. If the home options seem interesting, you can reach out to me. I do have a few clients, including my dad, that got the home ozone machines. And that was really, really great during COVID too, let me tell you. So something to lean into. They're pretty reasonable. I think it's like $1,200 or something to get started with that. And we can walk you through that process. Anyone that's local, obviously come do the IVs or come visit us. We do have the Sedona retreat, which is going to be a 4-day weekend in May, which is the best because then I get to kidnap you and hopefully you relax, right?